Hey, what's going on, folks? Today I'm going to be installing the KemiMoto Whip Lights on my Maverick X3. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so the kit comes with your two whip lights, your control unit. As you can see, you got your wiring harness there. Each of your lights are marked left and right. It's got your mounting hardware to mount onto your whip light mounts. It comes with two flags and the mounting hardware for the flags as well. And also it has two dust caps. So when you disconnect your whip lights, you can use the dust cap to put on your mount there. Also, in addition to your remote, you can choose to purchase the whip light set that comes with the phone app, which is pretty cool. You can turn your lights on and off, change the different modes, and several other things with the app if you get it. So it's pretty cool. Okay, right off the bat, one of the things I really like about this KemiMoto Whip Light set is that it comes pre-wired to be able to hook it up to your brake lights and turn signals. That's pretty cool. So I don't have the turn signal kit installed, but that's probably something that I'm going to look into installing at a later time, but I'm definitely going to take advantage of hooking up to my brake lights. Just kind of go over the wires here. Your red, of course, is your hot. Your black is your ground wire. The white wire is the wire that's going to connect into your brake lights. And these two wires is what you would use to connect up to your turn signal kit if you had a turn signal kit installed. I really like that these lights come pre-wired like this. Alright, let's go over some of the different wiring options you have. Now keep in mind, no matter how you wire these up, you can always use either your phone app or the remote that comes with the kit to control the lights, turning them off and on once they have power, or changing the light colors. Okay, so your first option, you can run your wires directly to your battery or the accessory bus in your center console. That way you constantly have power, run it to your lights, and then you can use your app or the remote to turn them on and off. Your second option would be running it to a dedicated switch that you have inside the cab. That way whenever you turn the switch on or off, you get power. Third option is you could splice it in to another accessory that you have, such as your rock lights. So whenever you turn your rock lights on, you're going to get power to your whip lights. Now the option I chose to go with is to use one of these adapters. Some people call them pigtails or whatever. But basically what you do with this is you plug it in line with the existing wiring harness that runs back to your tail lights. The thing I like about this adapter is it's easy, it's simple, and it gives you the wire to hook up to your brake lights. So just to go over the wires real quick, you have the red wire, which is your hot wire. You got the black wire, which is your ground, of course. And then this orangish brown wire here is what I'm going to connect to the white wire on the wiring harness for the whip lights to give me my brake light function. Again, I just think this is a really simple way to go, and it's already pre-wired to give you the brake light option. Makes it simple. All right, I just want to add that when using this adapter, you're always going to have power to your whip lights when the X3 is turned on. So when you turn your X3 on, you're always going to have power running back to your tail lights. Your tail lights are always running. Okay, so you'll continuously have power to the whip lights. Now when you turn your vehicle off, the X3 has that 2 or 3 minutes before it actually completely powers down and all the lights shut off. When that happens, you're going to lose power to your whip lights. So if you want to have the option of, maybe running your whip lights while your X3 is turned off, you're going to need to go with one of the other options. Maybe, running it directly to the battery or the bus bar in the center console. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is install my whip light mounts. I purchased these from KemiMoto as well, and they're sharp and they're really well built. They look cool, and as you can see there, it's got the little patterns on it. I mean, they're just a pretty cool looking mount. All right, so I got my whip mounts installed. Pretty cool, I like them. I went with a little bit different setup than probably most people will. We do a lot of East Coast mountain trail riding, so we get in some sticky situations. And to try to prevent losing my whip mounts, getting them ripped off, basically, I went to the inside of my cage to try to prevent that. All right, so I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna run my wiring from the cab to the back behind the firewall. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've got my seat removed already, so I'm going to pop this panel out so I can get access. It's as simple as that. It just pops right out. So now take my wiring. Okay, so I ran my wire back to the firewall here. Just follow all the other wires back to the engine compartment. That way I can tie into that pigtail that I have. And I just mounted the controller there next to the battery compartment. I ran both my wires left and right using some zip tie anchors. Try to make it as clean as I could. Come over here to the cage, follow the cage up. You can remove that little cover using some using a T30 screwdriver, and just ran the wire up. And as you can see, it comes out over here, so I can use it to connect to my whip lights. All right, so I've got my wiring ran through the firewall. Got it right here. Now I just gotta see how I can tie this pigtail into my wiring that goes back to my tail lights. All right, so I've got my pigtail connected here. Basically, this connector was connected here. You just disconnect it and then plug in your pigtail. So now what I gotta do is use some butt connectors, and I'm going to also use some heat shrink to connect it to the control unit wires. So I'll be back in a second after I get that done. All right, so I've got all the wires connected. I've got the pigtail installed and stowed away. I just zip tied it up against the firewall there. I used white zip ties, just kind of give you an idea of where I zip tied it and how. Looks to be, you know, pretty clean install. Everything should be out of the way, shouldn't get hung up on anything. You know, just snip off the extra zip ties just to make it look clean. Once you get your mount installed, you can take the quick disconnect portion of your whip light and go ahead and install it onto the mount itself. Basically, I just used a open end wrench just to tighten it down, and it's good and tight. So pretty much the only thing left to do is hook up the lights and do an ops check. All right, so that's it. Now just get the other one put on, and then we'll do a light check later. So when you hit your brakes, both of your lights will turn red. I think this can be adjusted in your app, if you have the app. I think you can have it go steady red, a slow flashing red, or a fast flashing red. Either way. Alright, so my final thoughts on the KemiMoto Whip Lights. I think these are a great set of whip lights. Compared to some of the other whip lights out there, they're going to cost 2-3 times more. These can definitely compete, I think. They look to be built with some quality materials. A lot of thought went into it. The lights are bright. You got a ton of different light modes. You got some good bend to them, so you don't have to worry when you're out on these mountain trails and limbs or whatever smacking them. They're going to take that beating and keep on going. So do me a favor, if you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Later.